I'm over the TheAllSeeingCamera. We back to the channel with another one. We're here today to react to Evan Peters speaking on how it was to play a monster like Dahmer. If you guys don't know who Evan Peters is, that's a lot of people shocked. Like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. Who is he? You've never seen American Horror Stories? The new season actually came out on the 19th. I gotta go check that out. I've been busy all week. But American Horror Story, I've seen every season live, bro. That's my favorite show of all time. No cap. Favorite show of all time, American Horror Story. No cap. My love for that show is out of here. So let's jump into this. It's called Dahmer the Monster. Jeffrey Dahmer story. Evan Peters on the complexity of playing Dahmer. Netflix.
Well, I sort of started with a blank slate with Dahmer. I only had the image of the hazmat suits and the blue vat coming out of the building, which I didn't even know was an apartment complex. I found out later that it was the Oxford apartments where he committed most of his acts. Ryan sent me the scripts and then called and said, you know, Dahmer is interesting in that he is almost regretful and has guilt and sort of confusion about what went on. He's doesn't really have the charming, mischievous smile. He's a docile, sort of aloof and almost disassociated from what he did.
Yo, Peters is, again, an amazing act. From playing Lobster Hands to playing the cult leader to now playing Jeffrey Dahmer and many other great roles. His work is literally art.
I immediately went to YouTube and watched he told me also to watch the Stone Phillips interview, and so I watched that and then proceeded to read biographies, and I was able to read the police report and his confession. I found on YouTube some audio of what sounds like a psychologist interviewing him, or even a detective, where he's sort of relaying sort of what he went through, and the way that he's speaking is very candid and very normal. You know, again, it was so jaw-dropping that it all really happened, that it felt important to be respectful to the victims, families.
Facts.
To try to tell the story as authentically as we could, and you know, you need to have certain plot points because he did do these things, but you don't need to embellish them. You know, we get it. You know, we don't need to see it over and over again.
That is crazy now if you think about that. It wasn't too gruesome. Like, yeah, you'll see him smack somebody in the head or do something quick, like be in the butcher spot and slicing up the meat. Like, I don't know if it was like a chest or something. I heard he's obsessed with the torso, if you know about Jeffrey Dahmer. But they made it quick and they made it tasteful. As
honestly,
tasteful as possible when you're eating humans
about all of the things that he did, and diving into that and trying to commit to that was absolutely going to be one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life.
Which is shocking.
Because I wanted it to be very authentic. But in order to do that, I was going to have to go to really dark places and stay there for an extended period of time. I have to say that the crew was instrumental in keeping me on the guardrails. I cannot thank them enough, and I could not have done any of this role without them. Specifically Sarah, our focus puller, who was just such a breath of fresh air and light, you know, when we were filming some of these horrific scenes. Jason, our DP, who sort of kept reminding me of sort of why we were doing it. It was easy, you know, showing up there every day, telling the story of Jeffrey Dahmer, to get lost in that. It was a challenge to try to have this person who seemingly was so normal, but underneath.
I can see the mental stress, and when characters like this are played so well, like if you guys remember back the original Exorcist we love, again, they made more than just one. One was the most famous one, but there were like 1, 2, and 3, a couple of them. I saw that actor, when she kept playing that role, it actually created mental stressor and a lot of like mental issues. So him saying that he was dealing with a lot of mental pressure, playing with his role, making sure he still continued doing it, battling his own personal morals with continuing to fulfill what this role needs, I can completely understand him.
All of it had this entire world that he was keeping secret from everybody. So, you know, we had one rule going into this from Ryan, that it would never be told from Dahmer's point of view. As an audience, you're not really sympathizing with him. You're not really getting into his plight. You're more sort of watching it, you know, from the outside.
The outside looking in. I'm not gonna lie though, due to us loving Evan Peters so much, I could see why some of the victims were mad, because there was points in this that I felt bad for the fake Dahmer, knowing like, bro, he did so many terrible things to so many people. It's like there shouldn't be no pity in your chest for him. But again, us loving Evan Peters so much and how he played the role, it did at points grab a little bit of sympathy for me.
It's called the Jeffrey Dahmer story, but it's not just him and his backstory. It's the repercussions. It's the society. It's this how society and our system failed to stop him multiple times because of racism, homophobia. It's just a tragic story that affected everybody. Gets their side of the story told, and it's really The Jeffrey Dahmer story is so much bigger than just him.
I totally agree. And I think we actually want to take a little quick spin to watch it once again. I wasn't going to watch it again, but Joe Budden, who's a random person to bring up right now, made an amazing point. We watched it the first time due to the shock of Jeffrey Dahmer. And again, some people knew about him, some people didn't. I personally do because I watched a lot of documentaries, so I know about a lot of these serial killers prior to this event on Netflix. But we were watching it more for Evan Peters, and we were seeing all the uproar on social media. Now, if we go back and watch it with a clear mind, we already seen it, we already got past all that, and just actually watch on how well he played the role and all the Easter eggs throughout the show, I think we will see a lot more and learn a lot more about the role, not only the role, but the story of Dahmer. So I do want to go back and watch it, and I think I'll do that before the end of October. This was one of my favorite Netflix series ever, which is terrible for me to say. I know a lot of people were mad and they want to take it down, but it did happen, and it's just a tricky situation. I wonder how you guys feel about it. Were you a fan of it? Were you one of the ones that felt disrespected with this being on there? Again, I don't have no victim connection. So I can see if your family was affected by this, why you're not a fan of this, or why you're disgusted, or why you're having nightmares, reliving this every single day. I can see it. So please don't take my words wrong. But me personally, as in being a fan of Evan Peters, loving horror, loving those docu-series about murder cases, I think Evan Peters was the perfect Jeffrey Dahmer. Once again, usually I get mad. I'm like, who was this? Why is he playing? I haven't even finished the Mike Tyson series. I got to go back to watching that on Hulu. This Evan Peters, whoever casted him, hit it out the park. Netflix never fails. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys. Are you a fan of Evan Peters? Are you a fan of the Dahmer story? Is there any cool stuff that you think I should check out or react to on this channel? Please comment down below. If you have any further questions, always feel free to DM me on social media. If you like what you saw, there is a heart down below called Super Thanks. Feel free to click that, and we'll continue giving you dope content. We're doing a giveaway at 4,000 subs, so sub up, sub up, sub up. And like I love to say, until the next one, we out of here.